Yeah, late ill care at One Young Soul, holding it down, bringing you that street geek and nerd soul. And today we've got another wonderful episode of Eats with Geeks, and we are with
Ivana.
Man, oh man, what are we gonna make today?
Today we are going to be making some Philly cheesesteak bell pepper poppers.
That's what's up, y'all. That's what's up. Well, guys, I'm not gonna waste y'all time. We gotta get our eat on, so let's get started.
Let's get it.
NERDSoul.
Hey everybody, so like I said, today we're going to be making Philly cheesesteak bell pepper poppers. It's summertime, the vegetables are fresh, there's a lot of variety to choose from, and it's a great recipe to use for summer entertaining. You know, you have friends coming over, you can put it together in about 30 to 45 minutes, so it's pretty economical, pretty budget friendly, time friendly, and it looks really fancy when it's done. So your friends are going to be really impressed. They're going to think that you really went all out, and you probably spent about 45 minutes of your time and maybe $15 or less. So let's get into it. So just want to kick it off by telling you guys what ingredients we're going to be using today. So for our meat, we got all of our ingredients from Ralph's. We're going to be using some steak today. This is the Sirlon tip steak choice beef round. When you're making Philly cheesesteak, you want to go with the flank steak. You can go with a ribeye that's usually a little bit pricier. But a sirloin is always a pretty good choice. It's usually available in most of your supermarkets and it's pretty economical. You can slice it up the way you need to. So this bad boy, $4.33, pretty good. We'll do the job. So it's our sirloin tip steak choice beef round. Then for our vegetables, we're gonna be using bell peppers. You can use bell peppers, you can use the mini bell peppers as well. I thought about showing you guys the video with the mini ones, but these actually hold up better with the oven and all the baking that we have to do. You can get orange, red. Summer is perfect time for produce. It's in season. Here's green and a yellow, so that's what we're gonna be using today. Also, we'll need an onion. The parsley, we're gonna dice it up a little bit smaller later on, but we're gonna use it for our garnish. You know, we want things to look fancy, so gotta stay fancy, gotta have the parsley for the garnish. That's a secret. And then if we move on over to our spices, we're gonna marinate our steak in a couple of different things. These are my two favorite seasonings of all time. Feel like you can't go wrong, can't make anything wrong with these two. Lori's seasoned salt. It has a great mix of seasonings and spices. It's pretty great, no MSG. And Tony Chachere's, please don't assassinate me if I pronounced it wrong. All I know is that this bad boy in the green bottle, this is it. So these two together, we have a little bit of cayenne pepper here, got some garlic powder, some paprika, nice and mild, some regular Morton salt. You can also use kosher salt or sea salt. What we have on hand is the Morton, so might not need a whole lot of it since we have the seasoned salt, but it's always good to have in your arsenal just in case something needs taste. You're always gonna go with the original. And then finally, pepper jack cheese. That will give our peppers just a little bit more kick. You can use provolone if you want to go traditional. That's usually what we use on our sliders that we make in-house. But for today's recipe, we just want to go with a little bit of the really color scheme that we can go for, the pop of the peppers and the cheese and against the beautiful colors of the produce. So that's what we're going to use the pepper jack today. Finally, we're going to make a nice little sauce for our Philly cheesesteak meat. And it's going to be comprised of a little A1 and a little Worcester. Nice little savory sauce just to kind of give our meat a little bit of wetness, moistness. I don't know if that's the right word. You know what I mean. Okay, you know what I mean. But that will go together for that. And then just a little bit of cooking spray and a little bit of olive oil when we season and saute and sear our steak. So the first thing that we want to do to get started is to wash our meat, make sure that we're getting rid of, you know, blood, fatty skin, any bacteria. Everyone has their own traditions. The household that I grew up in, my Panamanian household, we're used to cleaning with either a lemon or a lime juice, or in this case, we'll use an actual lime. I'm not sure how much it actually makes a difference. Like maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But this has been part of my culinary repertoire so far and haven't gotten any food poisoning since I've been cooking. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut a lime, and basically we'll just take the lime, squeeze it, and just kind of rub it on our steak here. Just really squeeze it. You can't be afraid to get messy in the kitchen. As dainty as I like to be, as you might know, we try to keep things, you gotta put your effort and your elbow grease into things. That's what really makes the difference in your recipe. So don't be afraid to get dirty. That's what this sink is for. That's what soap is for. So we're just gonna add a little cold water. I usually try to do about 3 cycles. Just treat your meat how you would want a restaurant to treat your meat, you know? If you went to a restaurant and saw that they just took your food out of the package and just threw it on the grill, you'd be mad. So just spend a little time sterilizing your meat. Prevents a lot of illness, sickness, and worry in the long run. So we rinsed our steak, wrung it out. Now we're gonna lay it out on our cutting board and just take a paper towel and we're just gonna pat it dry. This is to get some of the moisture out so that when we marinate it, the seasonings and the spices really stick. It won't be 100% dry, but just trying our best to kind of just get most of that moisture up. What we're gonna do is just kind of trim off some of this fat that we see. This is a step that you can use. You can decide not to use it. I honestly don't think it affects the flavor or the taste of the steak much if you omit some of the fat, but our recipes just try to keep it lean, try to keep it heart friendly, cholesterol friendly. That's our public health background of Dainty Delights. So we just want to keep you healthy. We're gonna just kind of trim away some of this fat that's on the side. You may lose a little meat, but it's not too much. I think it's worth it for the aesthetics that you gain by paying that much attention to detail. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by cutting the steak in 1-inch strips, kind of against the grain, which means a little bit diagonal at an angle. So I'm gonna start with this side. Just gonna go ahead and cut it in strips. The good thing about this strip is if you're selecting steak from the store, it's nice to get a strip that's kind of rectangular because it just makes your job for cutting a lot easier. So 1 inch is about 2 fingers, roughly. So about here. Then we're just gonna kind of cut it at an angle. That gives us that nice slice that we know when we think about Philly cheesesteaks. So 1 inch against the grain. Watch your fingers. But that gives us the strip kind of shape that we're familiar with. And so you're just gonna continue to cut the steak against the grain until you've cut the entire steak. And because the steak is cut so thinly, when you cut it kind of at thin angle, it will cook really quickly. All right, and I just wanted to let you guys know, I forgot to mention how much of the steak, how much it weighed. What I got was about 0.65, about close to about 3/4 a pound of steak I used for this particular recipe. So you can increase it or decrease it as your need or your guest list increases or decreases, but you'll know that if you get about 3/4 of a pound of steak, that'll be enough to make at least about 8 to 10 of these bell pepper poppers. So once we've kind of cut them into these strips, we want our ideal strips to be around this size, because they will shrink. And you also want to be able to capture some of the texture of your meat too. And you might lose some of it if you make it any smaller. So just to kind of make sure you have something to cook. You can always go back and cut it later, but this is a good place to start. So you can use one of these as a measuring piece and then just go ahead and cut the rest of the beef to a similar size. I think these bell pepper poppers are perfect for engagement parties, summer barbecues, summer functions, day parties. Really nice for smaller gatherings too, where your guests can really appreciate your work and what you've done. You don't want to make these at a big party where nobody cares. You want to make them somewhere where the people you made them for can really appreciate them. You can always go back and cut it later if you decide that you like it to be a little bit smaller for your pieces, but it's always a good place to start off just a little bit big. You can always cut back later. When you cut back, you can't put back. So to err on the side of caution, now that we got our meat cut, let's get it marinating. All right, so we have cleaned our meat. We have sliced our meat carefully and diligently with so much love. And now we are about to marinate and get these spices in, get it ready to go. So for our marinade, we're going to start off with a couple of seasonings I mentioned earlier. I'm gonna use our Creole seasoning. Gonna use a little cayenne for a little bit of kick. Gonna use a little seasoning salt, a little paprika, and a little bit of garlic powder. So let's start. For our garlic powder, we'll use about a teaspoon. This is a cool little contraption. You can find this at your local chef store, cooking store. Teaspoon of our garlic powder. All right, so we put in a teaspoon of our garlic powder here. Then we're gonna go ahead and give a half teaspoon. It's this little guy right here to the side. A half teaspoon of the Tony C. We're gonna go with Tony C because I don't wanna disrespect Tony and mess up his name, and I'm struggling with the pronunciation. About a half teaspoon of this. And we're gonna give a half teaspoon of seasoned salt. Now the Tony C has salt in it, and it also has some of these other ingredients, which is why we're gonna go a little bit less with that compared to an ingredient like the garlic powder. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of our cayenne. A little bit of cayenne goes a long, long way. You don't wanna burn off the noses and the mouths and all the eyes of your guests. So about a 1/4 of our cayenne here. I go with a 1/4 of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon. It's this guy. Always gives things a nice flavor. All right, so we did our paprika, Tony C, got our cayenne, a little seasoning salt, and a little garlic powder. So we're going to go ahead and throw our steak in a plastic bag. You can use a container if that's easier for you, like a Tupperware container, but in terms of cleanup, I think it's easiest to just use at least a quart size plastic bag, Ziploc bag like this. Just gonna go ahead and throw our steak in. We're gonna take our seasoning right here, throw it in the bag, just like that, just like that. And then we're gonna top it off with quickly 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So 1 and 2. Right. What that does is help move around the spices and will help us when we grill it to give us a really nice sear. That kind of like black char that you want when you're grilling. It'll give us a little bit of that. Doesn't affect the taste. Your meat won't be oily or weird tasting afterwards. And like I mentioned before, with the seasonings, you always want to err on the side of caution. It's really easy to make things over salty quickly. And with all of the natural flavor that the bell pepper offers, that onions offer, that parsley offers, there's a lot of herbs that give you a lot of seasoning without the need to use a lot of extra salt. So as you might have noticed, we didn't use the Morton salt. We probably won't. We'll taste it along the way and see. But there's a lot of flavor in the natural ingredients, plants that you're using. So we're gonna kind of stay with that. All right, we got our steak pretty mixed around. I like to let it sit. If I have an hour, that's ideal. If you have 30 minutes, that'll suffice too. If you don't have any time, it's not absolutely necessary, but to get the flavor to really soak into your meat and really give you that juicy, you want to marinate your meat. So we're done. We're gonna put this in the fridge and forget about it for about an hour and do some other prep in the meantime. Let's go. So we got our steak marinating in the fridge, getting all those juices soaked up, getting it all spiced up. So now we're gonna go ahead and prep our veggies while our meat is soaking. So there's gonna be 3 different veggies we're gonna prep. We're going to first prep our peppers, then we're gonna prep our onions, and then we're gonna prep our parsley. So let's start with the bell peppers. These are the stars of our show, like we mentioned, the bell pepper poppers. So we're gonna go ahead, we've washed them already. Make sure you wash, rinse all of your vegetables and pat them dry. We're gonna go ahead and begin first with just cutting off the tops of the peppers, and then we're going to de-seed and kind of remove the membrane. So start with this yellow, my favorite color. Gonna just go ahead and chop style that off like so. Gonna remove the top. We're not gonna be using this for the recipe, so you can just put that to the side. And then you can grab it with your hand. That's one way to kind of just go ahead and get the main part of the seed out. And if you want to be a little neater, you can use a paring knife, something a little bit smaller, but that helps you kind of cut into the membrane of the pepper and remove this white part. It's not poisonous. It's not anything that you really want to consume, so you want to just do your best to kind of remove it. Remember that we're going to be stuffing these. So for our recipe, we're going to be making the miniature version of these, but you could always make the standard or the jumbo version, which would involve kind of leaving these peppers intact the way they are. For our recipe, we're actually going to cut them in half because they're poppers and they're meant to be served as appetizers. If you leave them big, they actually make a pretty good dinner entree. Easy dinner. It stores well in the fridge, reheats well in the oven or in the microwave if you're a little bit more pressed for time. We have successfully cut all of our peppers, the tops off. Remove the tops. Now we're gonna go ahead and actually just cut the peppers in half. So, like so. Try to get it as close to half as possible. And you'll end up with 2 slices, like so. Go ahead and just do that with all of the peppers. Cutting them in half. So they're kind of like little boats, essentially. If you think about the potato, bacon, cheddar skin thingies at TGI Fridays, how those potato skins are kind of like boats, that's how you can think about these peppers kind of being the boats that are going to be loaded up pretty soon. So again, you could keep them intact and leave it that way for the recipe, but we're kind of doing a miniature. So look at our peppers. It's so pretty. You haven't even done anything yet. It's so pretty. And so what we're gonna do with these now is actually place them in some boiling water. We're gonna set some water to boil. Once it gets boiling, we're gonna throw these in there for 5 minutes. That helps soften up the skin just a little bit, but not too much. But it makes the oven process and the baking process a lot easier and a lot faster and keeps your pepper pretty. We gotta keep it pretty. So we're gonna go ahead and get the water on, get these bad boys boiling. So we cut off the tops of our bell peppers, we de-seeded them, removed the membranes, and we cut them in halves. We drop them in the boiling water for 5 minutes. It loses a little bit of color, but that's okay. It's gonna be nice and pretty at the end. You wanna make sure you don't put it for more than 5 minutes because you don't want the bell peppers to get too soft before we actually start to handle them, stuff them, and then put them in the oven. So after you drain it, it helps to drain it kind of inverted upside down like this because you want the water to seep out of the pepper. You don't want it to retain a lot of the water because it's already kind of like a water retaining vegetable or something like that. So just go ahead. If you have a colander or a drainer or something like this, it helps the water kind of come out. That helps. And then I like to put these in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. That just gives it a little bit more firmness before I start to work with it. Because if you work with it while it's too hot, it will just kind of start to fall apart. So we're gonna pop these in the fridge for 20 minutes, let them hang out and get cool and firm enough for us to work with again. And then we are going to slice the cheese. That's gonna go on top and get all pretty and bubbly and brown. We chopped up our bell peppers. We got our stove on, waiting for the stove to get the water boiling, and then we're gonna toss our bell peppers in there, get them a little soft. While that's waiting, or while we're waiting for the water to boil, we'll go ahead and start to slice our onion. So our onion is gonna be part of our mixture that we're gonna use for stuffing the peppers. We just went ahead and just took off the, you know, that brown part. I don't know what it's called, the skin, I guess, maybe. The skin. We did that. We wanna cut it in half, then kind of cut it in quarters. You want to always consider the size of what it is that you're making. So since we're making appetizers, you don't want a big piece of onion. That's not something that's cool to have. So what we're gonna do is just kind of separate these bad boys. You know a faster way to cut. You know, the cool thing about the kitchen is putting your spin on it. So you might have a faster way to cut. I kind of just like to be meticulous with things and really just take a look at everything from an individual kind of perspective. But once you separate them, want to kind of give it a cut in half. Cut this in half. Cut out one more time. And then cut that in half. So the pieces you want to end up with are about this size. They'll kind of caramelize down a little bit once we saute them, so this is just giving it room for you to be able to have some substance. But just think about yourself as the consumer, like, would I want to eat a piece of onion that's super big? If the answer is no, then you might need to cut the size of your onion. So just kind of keep that in mind. We know what size our peppers are. Guys, my eyes are burning, I'm so sorry. Please take the breaks that you need to. But this is an example of just making recipes with love, okay? Your eyes will burn, you may sweat, you may cry, but it's all in love, and hopefully your guests and the people that you're cooking for will appreciate that. Always when cooking, ask yourself, would I eat that? If you feel like you're about to skate on something or just give a half-ass effort, it's probably a good time to remind yourself that you wouldn't want to eat something that looked like it was half-ass. When you go to a restaurant and somebody brings something that looks like it was halfway put together, you're mad because you paid for something and you want it to be good. So just give yourself that same thought when you're cooking and presenting things to friends, entertaining, having people over. Don't give somebody anything that you wouldn't want to consume yourself. Presentation is key, my friends. And the more effort and the more time you give to these little details, the more it'll show. All right, so we're just about done with our onion. as you can see, we got our nice little thin onion slices. So we'll go ahead and just put this to the side for a second. Go ahead and throw them in this bowl. And then we're gonna quickly just dice some parsley and also put that to the side. The parsley is going to be our garnish. You can also opt for dried parsley, but I think fresh parsley gives the best appearance. I had kind of cut it up earlier, but it just wasn't small enough. You really want to kind of go for really small pieces. If you think you're cutting it small, cut it smaller, because what you don't want is a branch on your pepper. You just want this to kind of be there to say, look at me, I am fancy. All right, so we put our bell peppers in the fridge. They're gonna cool, get a little firm. Right now we're gonna go ahead and slice our cheese. So we're using pepper jack cheese. Like I mentioned before, you can use provolone, you can use Swiss if you like, you can change it up and use an American or a cheddar, but we kind of want to go for something that's pretty and popping in color and also in spice level. So we're gonna go with the pepper jack today. So with the pepper jack cheese, I think the way that it kind of melts the nicest presentation wise on your peppers is when you cut it diagonally. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is just separate the cheese. These little things, little pieces of paper help with the separation process. And each of your pepper slices are gonna get 2 triangles. So now we're gonna go ahead and actually start getting our onion sauteed and getting our stuffed pepper mixture compiled. Let's go. All right, so we are pretty much done prepping all our veggies. We cut up stuff, we got stuff marinating. So now it's time to get cooking and start whipping that work. So we got our stove on. We're gonna go ahead and put it on about a medium-high heat. Word of advice, just if you have a gas flame, it's good to just make sure that your flame is never larger than the pot that you're cooking with, for safety reasons. But we're gonna turn it up to a medium-high heat, and we're gonna add about a good teaspoon, 3 teaspoons, or 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And we're gonna go ahead and just get our onions nice and sauteed. So oil's getting hot. Put away our olive oil. You can kind of see it starting to dance, letting us know that pan is pretty much ready to go. This is a non-stick pan. If you're using a non-stick pan, you want to make sure that you use a wooden tool. That will prevent scratches and will kind of give your pan a little bit more life than if you use something metal. So I'm gonna add our onions now. Okay. And we're gonna just move them around. The pot is pretty hot, as you can see. Getting your onions nice and coated is the key to getting that nice grill and sear. This is a great heat to have it on. Want to move it around so there's enough space in the pot. And just let them sizzle, do their thing. Give it about 2 minutes or so on this side. Not even, maybe about a minute, 30 seconds even. We're gonna just let it get some color, and then we toss it around. You'll see that it gets the brown pretty quickly. That gives us our nice grilled appearance that we like. You want to get these onions nice and translucent, just kind of on the clearer side. If you can kind of see, it's starting to soften, which is exactly what we like. Let these simmer. Looking good, looking good. smells great and provides a bunch of flavor for us. So I think this is nice and grilled enough to do the job. Keep in mind that your vegetables and everything that's in your mixture will also cook a little bit when it's in the oven. So you want to make it mostly well done, but it is going to get a chance to kind of crisp up and cook a little in the oven, so you don't want it to be dry. So now it's looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and take this off the heat and keep the heat at its current temperature and just throw the steak on there to get it a nice sear. Pow, pow, pow. Alright, so cooking at a nice high heat gives us that grilled sear effect we're looking for. Gonna give our meat some room to breathe in the pan. Helps with the cooking process. Again, these pieces we try to slice pretty thinly, so it's not gonna take very long to cook. And if you decide that your pieces are still a little chunkier than you like, you can always slice them afterwards. But this is good enough for now. So we're gonna let it cook about 2 minutes on this side. Then we're gonna go ahead and give it a flip. We want to cook the steak till it's about medium to medium well, because again, we are going to put it in the oven and we don't want it to dry out. We want our steak to be tender, juicy. That was the purpose of us marinating it. So going to give it just enough time to kind of get most of the blood out, and then it's going to go for a nice kind of final crisping in the oven. If you like a little color to your food like I do, you like that searing, like that kind of char, you want to be mindful of how much liquid's in here. And if you're getting a lot of liquid, it's no big deal. Just throw a little bit of it off and then continue cooking, making sure that the heat is high enough to kind of soak up the moisture pretty quickly. But your kitchen's gonna smell really good, I'll warn you now, because all of the seasonings that we added to the steak are marinating and getting their cook on. I'll turn it up a little bit higher just because we want some more action. See that brown? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Nice sear. And again, this happens when there's less liquid in the pot. So once we start to see our little brown, that's good enough. We're gonna go ahead and take our steak off the heat. We don't want it too saucy because the pepper is gonna retain a lot of moisture. So we're just gonna hit it with about a teaspoon of our A1 and a teaspoon of Worcester. You can decide that you want to add more once you taste it, but this adds a nice little extra flavor. That kind of steak taste that you're thinking about gives it a little bit more moisture and protection once it goes into the oven. So I'm actually going to keep this side, and at this time we're just going to go ahead and throw in our onions. Alright. And this comprises, or this will comprise, our pepper mix. This is what we're gonna be stuffing our peppers with. Nice combination of grilled onions and grilled steak. Definitely a hearty, protein heavy, carb light dish, okay? So all my girls out there, you know, it's summertime, we're trying to get that summer body together. My fellas out there trying to get that summer body together. This meal is protein heavy, you know, nutrient rich-ish, okay? Because we got the peppers going on and we got the onions. And there's no bread, no carbs. Very light on the carbs, so kept that in mind. Got our mixture ready to go, marinated with our juices. Now we are going to move towards actually stuffing our peppers. So now it's time to get the peppers popping and stuff. So we're gonna just start with just a light spray of our pan. This will help give the peppers a nice crisp to give a little color to your appetizers. And we're gonna take our peppers. These were our peppers that we set to drain and just cool a little bit in the refrigerator. Now we're going to set them out and get them ready for stuffing. So I like to kind of stuff this way. Give them some room between each other. But just going to add these bad boys to the pan. Be gentle in your handling. They are going to be softer than raw bell peppers because we did boil them. So laid our peppers out. Now we're gonna start stuffing them with our steak onion mixture. That's what we just sauteed on the stove. I like to start off with about 2 tablespoons. Here's our steak. And just about 2 scoops in each. And if you have more, you can always add later. So again, this is a tablespoon. All right. Kind of adorn like so. You know, you don't want to overstuff them too. The cheese is gonna have some action here as well. So just again, put yourself in the consumer's shoes. You wouldn't want to be biting into steak that's spilling all over you, but you do want to taste a little something when you have your appetizer. You do want to taste a little bit of the pop. So you're gonna just continue to go ahead and use that 2 tablespoon formula to just get your peppers stuffed and ready to go. And when we make the sliders, we like to use green peppers in our Philly cheesesteak sliders, but the pepper is really the star of the show here. So there's no need to add it into mixture. Alright, so if you use the 3/4 or 0.75, however you want to measure it, if you use that 3/4 of a pound suggestion that I had given before, you'd have enough to kind of stuff all of these peppers. As you can see, we're a little short and we used a little bit under. Alright, you can see. So we got about 8 boats. So if you have a little bit under 3/4 of a pound, you can make about 8 of these little steak peppers. Kind of OCD about color, sorry. Alright. So now we filled it up with our filling. We're gonna go ahead and throw the cheese on. I like to go this way and just give about 2 slices. You layer it like so. You'll get a nice, really nice melt across the top. Go ahead and keep adding our little pepper jack cheese to the mix. Alright. We are cheesed up. Gonna just give these bad boys a little space between one another so they're not all crowded. All right. So, got these bad boys filled. You want to go ahead, before you do this, you can actually just preheat the oven. 350 is always a safe temperature to go with in general. If you're like, oh, there's a recipe and I don't know what to put it on, 350 is always a safe place to start, especially when the ingredients are safe to eat raw. In this case, we've already cooked the steak, we've already cooked the onions. The only thing that's only mildly cooked is the pepper. But even so, if you were to consume it right now, it'd be safe and perfect. So it's not gonna go in the oven for too long because mostly everything is cooked. We wanna make sure it's nice and moist and juicy. So we have our oven on. It's just about preheated. We're gonna throw it in for about 10 minutes and get the cheese nice and bubbly and then finish it off. Almost done, almost at the finish line. So we put our peppers in the oven for about 20 minutes, just enough time for the cheese to kind of start to bubble. You'll see kind of the juices starting to ooze, and that's just what you want to happen. They're pretty much done. Like I said, you can brown it more if you like, but this is kind of the basic, what it would look like when the cheese starts to melt on it. I like to give it about a couple of minutes to cool before handling it. The last thing we'll do now is just garnish it. Give it about 5 minutes to cool so that way when we pick it up it doesn't shift or break, and then we'll plate it. So this is where things start to look alive a little bit more. Just brightening up your peppers with some fresh herbs. All right, you see we could cut the parsley a little bit more if you like. I like there to be a little bit of texture, little different sizes. So we're gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes, then we're gonna put it on a plate, make it look fancy, make it look sexy like Kendrick. We popped out our peppers. They are done, melty, garnished, and ready to go. So it's time to get them on the plate so you can get them into those hungry bellies that are waiting for them. So should be cool to the touch now. If it's not, you can always just use a spatula. Just think it's always nice just to be sure. But now that these babies are done, you can just arrange them nicely on our plate here. If you want to add a little effect, just kind of use the back of the spoon here, dip it in a little sauce, give your plate a little character. All right, so we have our final product here, Philly cheese steak, bell pepper poppers. That's what we have here. This kitchen is hot, y'all. But yeah, perfect summer treat. Like I said, if it's greasing a little bit, just use a little napkin. I mean, you know, whatever, it's life. It happens, napkins fix a lot. But enjoy, it's a great summer appetizer, perfect for a small gathering or a large gathering. I'd say maybe small because they do take a little bit of time. So probably not the best treat for a really big gathering, but you know, your girl's coming over, your boy's coming over, you're trying to impress somebody with a new recipe, bae coming over, whatever. It's perfect. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, so Ivana is done.
Done.
Thank you. So, you know, we've been cooking this stuff, we've been waiting, we've been doing the sizzling, we've been doing the cheeses, put it all together, right? So now it's time for me to taste this joint, because you gotta have eats with Geeks. So we gotta see, so which one, let's see, Pow, all right, the orange one.
All right.
All right, let's see. It's heavy, y'all, because this is the joint. All right, let me see. I don't know. Word up. See the cheesiness? The sauces. See the sauces and a couple of cayenne hit you right here.
Ooh.
But it's just right. Man, this joint is the bomb. I don't even know. Thank you for see you guys. We don't only show you how to get your geek on. This is how you're supposed to eat. Like this.
Like this.
Everybody at home, go make some of these at least one time, and because it's the bomb. So we're gonna go on and move on because we're gonna talk about some Black Panther. So I'm excited. You guys are excited. But how do you feel about it?
I am so excited.
Cool.
So excited.
So we're gonna get into that right about now.
Holla.
Yeah, and that's what it's like, man. Yo, on the real, those peppers is what's up. I ain't gonna front, the peppers was hot.
Yeah.
And it's like a nice food delivery system. Like, guys, you should definitely try it. The peppers is it's like a nice way to package your food.
It is.
Package your food in a pepper. Do it sometime this weekend. You're really gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
So, Black Panther. How you feeling about it?
I am so excited to see Black Panther. Like,
All right.
when the full trailer came on was that the finals?
Yeah.
The NBA finals?
Yeah.
And I just saw all of the blackness. My face, my whole soul lit up. Like, I was so excited to see it. So excited.
It was dope from top to bottom.
Man.
So what was your favorite part of the Black Panther trailer?
My favorite part of the trailer was honestly just all of it. The unapologetic representation of so many Black people in this kind of film. Like a superhero
definitely
film is not a place where you really see a lot of Black faces, and not just Black faces, but like all shades of Black.
True.
Not just light skin or fairer skin, but very melanated people. Beautiful. Like, I cannot wait. It's a teaser that is not coming out this year. Like, I'm like, what do you mean we're not going to go see it this summer? Like, what do you mean I have to wait?
But February is going to be on point, though. Like, February is going to be that month that is going to be crazy.
You think they did that for Black History? Like,
they did. Disney, like, Marvel / Disney.
Nobody.
Y'all know what y'all doing.
Y'all know what
like,
y'all doing.
My favorite part is that we finally see Africa in a different light.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many times that they show Africa and it's like the little kids and like help us feed these kids, or it's like child soldiers, or it's Hotel Rwanda. We never see Africa in a heroic light. And I think that's what's dope. I think that's what really hit home for me, and just the whole Afro-futuristic vibe of everything really brought it home. Where I was just like, I can't wait to see this movie.
I can't.
Like, super hype. Now, we're going to ask you guys a couple of questions. But real quick, I got to remind you that you can find me on Black Hollywood Live. That's right. The first online network for African Americans. They got celebrity interviews, after shows, sports talk, geek, nerd tech, all that. You can find them on blackhollywoodlive.com. And if you need to catch up with them from week to week with daily videos and all that cool stuff, hit them up on youtube.com/blackhollywoodlive. So, we got our viewers here. We helped them cook something.
We did.
Now we're talking about Black Panther. What's a question? Well, I'll ask first. I want you to ask the viewers a question about Black Panther. For me, here's my question. Who do you think is going to win the first fight against Black Panther in the film? And the reason I ask that is, when you have a hero, the hero has to lose a little bit at the beginning.
Of course, right.
And then he got to come back at the end.
Yes.
So I'm thinking he's going he'll lose or fall down a little bit. And who's going to be that person that makes him lose a little bit? Is it going to be Michael B. Jordan?
Right.
Is it going to be Ulysses Claw, his character, the dude that ain't got no arm, but it'll be replaced. So that's my question to you guys. Guys, jump down in the comments. Let's holler at me, holler at you. And I'm very interested to see what you guys think about, Black Panther's first encounter, his first battle, his first fight. So, you got a question for the guys?
I want to know how many of you guys actually knew a whole lot about Black Panther before you saw the trailer. did you really know the story, or how much of the story did you know before you saw the trailer and it blew up in this big space, like with the finals?
Okay.
Because before, like pre-finals, you heard like people that maybe like knew a whole lot about superhero movies, comics, stuff like that was on the Black Panther train.
Yeah.
Knew Black Panther was coming, knew it was something to talk about.
Already hype
about it. But when it came into the finals during the halftime, like it became like a much wider, larger public discourse.
Yes.
And opened it up to a lot of people that hadn't seen it before, didn't really know what it was about, didn't know that were that many black people in it, just didn't know. So I want to know who really was up on game before the finals, because I'll admit I was like halfway up on game. Like
you knew like, okay, there's gonna be a movie. It's called Black Panther. It's coming out sometime.
That, and I knew that old boy from Civil War.
Okay, yeah.
Was gonna be.
So you knew he's gonna have his own movie sometime.
I knew that was coming.
Okay.
I knew that I loved his role in Civil War, and I was excited to see where his story would go. But I didn't know it was gonna play out all the way it did, how it did on the trailer. So I mean, it made me even more excited. To see it.
It's super impressive and extremely dope to see it just make a splash like it did.
Yes.
You know, just the way
it slipped into the finals.
Yeah, it took away the attention of the finals.
Right.
Like people were like, "Oh man, this is great game on." Yeah, what happened again? Because I don't know. Because I'm on Twitter and everybody's talking about Black Panther.
Hashtag Black Panther.
Yo man, hashtag Black Panther so lit. Hashtag Black Panther. Hashtag like Black Panther in them streets. But man, so you know we've made some great food delivery services with the bell peppers, the Philly steak, all that. What's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, my favorite comfort food. Whew. Boy, I love pizza.
Aww.
There's just nothing more comforting than pizza. Wherever you are in life.
Now, are you like a flatbread person? Are you like a regular? Are you a deep dish? What are you feeling?
I used to be, when I was younger, I used to be more of a kind of like pan pizza.
Oh, okay, like the pan
bread
pizza.
heavy kind of girl, As I get older, as the pounds don't fall off how they used to, the thin crust is where to go. But really, that's where you get all the flavor from the toppings. The bread in the pan pizza really takes away from the pizza experience because you're full before you even finish. It's
so soft and squishy. It's
comforting.
It's like
warm pizza. Yes. It's amazing. No matter where you are, no matter where you go, you know what to expect when you order pizza. You can dress it up a bunch of different ways, but you know it's going to be something that has some kind of sauce that's yummy, it has some yummy toppings, and you're going to be full afterwards, because that's why it's different than a salad. A salad is like you just started to enjoy it and then you're hungry 2 seconds later.
It's a good point, because no matter where you go, pizza is like it's kind of standard everywhere.
It's pretty standard.
Like we're in LA right now. We could go to, I don't know, somewhere in Texas or Kentucky, order pizza, and we've got a pretty good idea of where it's gonna go.
At least more or less how it's composed and put together.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look, I'm gonna get bread, I'm gonna get some cheese, and I'm gonna get some meats. All right, now, what are your favorite toppings for said pizza?
For said pizza, you just gotta go with the original. You can never go wrong with the pepperoni. You can never go wrong with a little pepperoni and sausage if I'm feeling a little bit more adventurous,
Okay.
The original, when the grease is just bubbling, the cheese,
all right. Here's for my because when it comes to pizza, it's got to be chicken, bacon, mushrooms, and onions.
Oh, you're very particular.
I like that. I like the chicken, bacon, mushrooms, and onions. It's great. Okay. And it can be deep dish. It could be regular. It could be flatbread. It could be pan pizza, just those 4, I need them.
Chicken, bacon, mushrooms.
Yeah, and if I have to cut off one, sometimes I'll cut off the mushroom, sometimes I'll cut off the onion. But
if I can't have all
the
4.
chicken and bacon got to come together. Yeah, the chicken and bacon. Yeah.
Bacon plus
anything.
Blank?
Yeah. Bacon times this equals
yum.
Happiness.
Yes. Equals yum, equals happiness. Like the blandest food, the food that you hate the most, you just add a little bacon on and you will probably love it.
Look, salad was not popping back in the day. And then what did Mrs. Dash make bacon bits? And I say Mrs. Dash like it's a person. Like Mrs. Dash came out, right? And she was like, look, I'm gonna help all y'all salad.
Change the game.
All right. Sprinkle a little bacon on it. And then everybody was happy. Salad made a comeback.
All is well in the world.
Man, just put a little bacon on it. Just sprinkle it. Just sprinkle some bacon. You saw how she was sprinkling the parsley? Sprinkle some bacon. That's all you need to do. So, man, look, we got to get up out of here. We have ate. We have talked some Black Panther.
Man.
We talked some comfort food.
It's time to eat now.
Yeah, it's time to eat. Ooh. So, look, guys, we're going to get out of here. Before we get out of here, where can people find you online?
You can find me, Chef Ivana, on Dainty Delights by Ivana, our Instagram page, or Facebook page, Dainty Delights by Ivana, website, iwantdaintydelights.com.
All right, cool. Well, guys, you know where you can find me, and so I have to tell you to hit up thatnerdsoul.com. That's right. You can check out all my videos from the oldest, the newest, the latest, the greatest, and all that. Then hit up shop.thatnerdsoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player. And don't forget to get one for them playettes. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. There's no better way that I can show people that you like what you are watching. And of course, I gotta tell you that my shout outs always go out to LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please, be good to yourselves.
Be good.
Be good to each other.
Hello.
And eat that Philly cheesesteak, banana peppers, whatever. Just put in a pepper and eat it. It's gonna be good.
Eat that thing.
Thank you. Peace.